There are things that happen to a person not just by chance, not because the time has come, and not because the stars aligned, but because inside you've been carrying something that you should have let go of a long time ago. If you are a Cancer, you know this better than anyone. You know how to endure, how to wait, how to hope even when nothing is promised. And that's why this period has been difficult for you. If in the past few months you've experienced any of the following, this video is for you. If you've waited a long time for an answer that never came, invested more than you received, held on to a person, a situation, or an idea because maybe it will still work, felt tired, but kept being strong, let go of something important, even if on the outside it seemed calm, then you've passed a point after which good news begins. And this is not abstract, this is very specific. Starting from the end of February, Cancers enter a period when energy stops leaking into the past and begins to flow back to you. This isn't about sudden miracles, it's about feelings. Finally, something has shifted. Why does this happen? Because Cancer is a sign of depth. You don't live superficially. If you feel something, you feel it deeply. If you love fully. If you lose truly. And that's why any change for you starts not with external events, but with an internal decision. The last few months have been a period of internal reassessment. You may not have spoken about it out loud, not complained, not explained, but inside, you've already understood a lot. You've realized where you were underestimated, where you waited too long, where you gave more than you could, where you stayed out of memory, not out of the present. And at some point, a quiet but very important feeling appeared inside. I don't want this anymore. For Cancer, this is a turning point because when Cancer stops holding on, life begins to move toward them. From the end of February, the period begins when the universe seems to tell you, you've endured enough. Now it's time to do things differently. And good news can come in many forms. For some, it will be a message. For others, a conversation. For others, still, an offer or a decision that has long been postponed. But the essence is the same. Something important will shift. And most importantly, you'll feel it immediately. Cancers have very precise intuition. You might not understand it with your mind, but inside you'll feel it. This is it. Why from the end of February? Because this period completes your inner cycle of waiting and begins your cycle of receiving. You've long been in a state of prove it, endure, wait, be wiser. Now this energy is changing. You no longer need to earn it. You start to accept. And that's the key difference. Very often, Cancers don't understand exactly when life begins to change, because outwardly, it may seem like nothing special has happened. But inside, you've already done the most important thing. You've stopped holding on. It doesn't necessarily mean you've left someone, or that you've loudly slammed a door. Sometimes it happens more quietly. You simply stopped waiting for a message, stopped hoping for someone else's decision, stopped proving your worth, stopped carrying something that was only being held up by you. For Cancers, this is a huge step, because by nature, you are very attached. You don't hold on to a person. You hold on to the feelings they gave you, to memories, to moments, to promises, even if they were unspoken. When you let go of this, the universe starts to free up space. And it is into this space, from the end of February, that something new and good can enter. For many Cancers, good news will be connected to people. Not necessarily the same people, sometimes completely new ones. It could be someone who says the right words, someone who supports you, someone who offers cooperation, or someone next to whom you feel calm. For Cancer, calmness is the main indicator. If, with someone, you don't have to be strong, you don't have to prove anything, You don't have to guess their mood. That's the right direction. For other cancers, good news will come through work or money, an opportunity you hadn't seriously thought about before, an offer that at first seems insignificant, a solution to a problem that's been dragging on for a while. It's important not to devalue all of this. Cancers often do this. You might think, it's a small thing. It's not what I wanted. It's too simple to be the beginning. But this is exactly how real changes begin. Not with fireworks, but with the tiniest shift. Another important point. From the end of February, Cancer's ability to choose correctly will strengthen. Not out of fear of being alone, not out of a desire to save someone, not out of habit, but from the feeling of, I'm good with this. And this changes everything. You may turn down things you would have accepted without hesitation before, and on the other hand, agree to things that used to scare you, because now, inside, you have found your support. You begin to trust yourself more than the expectations of others. And this is directly related to why good news is coming now. You've stopped living from a place of lack. You've stopped being afraid of losing. And it was exactly this fear of loss that had been blocking new opportunities for you for a long time. When Cancer is afraid of losing, they don't hold on tightly. When Cancer stops being afraid, they begin to attract. And this is where the turning point happens. There are several signs by which Cancer can understand that good news is on the way, even if it hasn't yet turned into an event. The first sign is relief. Not joy, not euphoria, but relief. As if inside it's a little quieter, a little easier to breathe. You may have noticed that old issues affect you less, and you think about the past less often. You've stopped waiting for someone to understand something. This isn't indifference. It's a sign that you've come out of inner tension. The second sign is the return of energy. You may feel the desire to do something for yourself, organize things, buy something nice, plan a trip, focus on your body or appearance. This is very telling for Cancer. When you are in a difficult period, you live on autopilot. When this period ends, you feel the desire to live again. The third sign is signs and coincidences. You might hear a phrase by chance that seems to answer your inner question, see information that arrives just in time, or meet a person who says exactly what you need to hear. Cancers are very sensitive to such things. If you've started noticing them, it's not a coincidence. From the end of February, this flow will intensify, but there is an important point that needs to be said honestly. Good news doesn't come to Cancer if they continue living in the past, emotionally, not with words, but from within. If you are still mentally talking to someone, proving something in your head, waiting for the situation to turn back, or hoping that you'll finally be understood, the energy is still stuck there, and then good news might be delayed. Therefore, the main choice for Cancer during this period is not to return to where everything has already been experienced. This is especially hard for you because you know how to love deeply, how to remember, how to preserve. But right now, another quality is required of you. Not to forget, but to let go without expectation. And this is what happens when Cancer does this. Life begins to respond. Not immediately, not sharply, not very precisely. But you get the sense that the right words are coming on their own, that people begin to behave differently, that issues that have been dragging on for months are suddenly resolved almost effortlessly. And this is your period. It's quiet, warm, supportive. And it's in such periods that Cancers receive the most important gifts of fate. Not always big externally, but very significant inside. Very often, Cancers wait for something good as a reward, as if life should first explain everything, then apologize, and only then give something bright. But this period works differently. Good news doesn't come when you are logically ready to accept them, but when you have internally stopped resisting. That's why, for many cancers, they will be unexpected. You might have already reconciled, told yourself, okay, it's not meant to be. You stop expecting a specific outcome, and in that moment, something begins to unfold. It might be a message you didn't count on, a conversation that puts everything in place, an offer you hadn't even thought about, an opportunity that appears by chance. For Cancer, these things are always felt in the body. You don't immediately rejoice. At first you freeze, as if checking whether it's true or just another hope. And here, it's important not to rush. During this period, Cancers shouldn't rush forward, make promises based on emotions, invest everything right away, or take on extra responsibility. Your main resource now is calmness. The calmer you respond, the more stable the good will become. This is unusual because before, you had to fight, hold on, prove yourself. But now, what's required of you is trust without strain. That's why good news can unfold gradually, not all at once in its full form, but step by step. And this is right, because anything that comes to Cancer suddenly and through overload doesn't last long. But everything that comes gently and with a sense of security stays for a long time. And one more important point. At the end of February or the beginning of March, it's important for Cancer to listen to intuition, not fear. Fear will say, what if it doesn't work again? What if I'm wrong? What if it hurts later? Intuition will speak differently. I feel calm. I feel good here. I'm not in a hurry. I'm interested. Choose the second option. And this is the main key to this period. Cancers often underestimate one thing, how strongly they influence what's happening with their inner state. When you live in gratitude, even quietly within yourself, life responds to you faster. That's why right now it's very important to focus not on expectation, but on recognition. Recognizing that you've already passed a difficult stage, that you've endured, that you didn't break, that you've become softer, but not weaker. And it is from this state that good news enters your life, not as a reward, but as a continuation. Dear listeners, if this video resonated with you, and you felt that it's about you, please give it a like to support the channel and the creator. And be sure to write the word "thank you" in the comments, or just any emoji. Not just for me, but to send this word into the universe and amplify all the good that's already starting to come into your life. I read your comments, and thank everyone who stays here.